IoT is pushing the edge of the network to the ends of the earth. It's happening everywhere, with everything, and in every industry. It's anything you can dream up, thanks to the reliability, speed, agility, and cost-effectiveness of cellular wireless broadband. Wireless means constant connectivity for the tools that our first responders use to save lives. This connectivity gives our police, our firefighters, and our paramedics the time and information they need to better protect our communities. Wireless is a key component in smart city initiatives, enabling greater convenience and access to services that citizens have never had before. Wireless provides new ways for retailers and restaurants to engage with their customers, and the flexibility to do business anywhere. A business can provide the tools necessary for their employees to complete important work, whether they're at home, in the office, or traveling on the road. With the arrival of gigabit-class LTE and 5G, organizations will find new ways to use Cradlepoint's cloud-delivered wireless solutions to connect people, places, and things. At Cradlepoint, we're building the elastic edge to help make your innovations possible. Thank you. I think that pretty well covered it. Not really. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about some of the issues that came up in that last panel, and with really implementing IoT solutions. It's great to be back at IoT Evolution. I thought there were some great insights on that panel. We're a venture-backed company, by the way. We've gone from startup to stand-up, and now we're at the let's stay up phase. If you're in the tech business, you never get to the we've made it phase. But business is good, and we're excited to be a part of the IoT business. We've been at it for about close to 10 years now, back when it was called M2M, and it's been gratifying to see, a lot of our customers build new capabilities that help generate more revenue or save costs, those types of things, and lots of different application areas. One of my favorites was tracking feral pigs in the woods of Tennessee. We didn't make a lot of money on that, but it was interesting. But we've also seen our customers struggle with IoT, and some of that came up in the last panel. And I'll give you an example of one of those. We were working with a mid-sized solar company, and they were doing residential solar, and their operations teams wanted to put a solution in place to monitor those panels. How much energy were they generating? Were the panels on or off, or did somebody walk away with them, the asset management side of that? And they were very excited, as they should be, to get this application going. They went to the IT department and said, hey, here's what we want to do. We need to build this network to provide this connectivity. And the IT guys said, that sounds great. We've never done that before, so we're going to study this. We're going to put out an RFP. I think we can have that network up for you in about 9 to 12 months. And at that point, the line of business, the operational guy said, well, we don't want to wait that long. We're going to do it ourselves. And like Shadow IT in the old days, went off to build this solution themselves. They ran into some issues, because a part of the solution was to piggyback on the homeowner's Wi-Fi. And that created uptime issues, reliability issues. Some of the homeowners said, no, you're not getting on my Wi-Fi to do this. And it also created some big security issues, and they had some security problems. And when it comes to security, the IT team, especially around cybersecurity, has the final no vote. And so that project got canceled, restarted, and they had to start over again from scratch. So not that uncommon of a situation that we've seen as more and more companies we talk to look to build out IoT kinds of projects. Saw a study that Cisco did, this is about a year ago, I think. Cisco, that's the other networking company that starts with a C. They're pretty well known, actually. But anyway, what they found was 60% of the IoT projects fail in the POC phase. They never get past POC. And in fact, 74% of the companies they surveyed, these enterprises, had never had a successful implementation of an IoT project. And there were kind of the top 4 reasons. It was interesting. 3 of the 4 were all kind of human factors things. Was the leadership behind it? Did the company culture support it? Were they organized to make it happen? But most interesting to us, being a networking company, was the fact that the most important success factor for those IoT projects was collaboration between the IT teams and the line of business or the OT teams. And that is something we've seen, frankly, over and over again. So as we've looked at the different ways these IoT projects get started and implemented, kind of broke them into a couple of categories here. And this may be an oversimplification, but there's typically going to be what we would call highly customized applications, where it's very strategic to a company, a big enterprise company. They may bring in a big SI to help design, define, deploy, spend a lot of money on these. IT's fully involved, the operations teams are fully involved, and these tend to be very successful implementations because they have the weight of the company behind it, they have a lot of expertise behind it, and they have a lot of funding behind it. The other thing we see quite often today is what we would call more specialized or targeted IoT applications. And a lot of times, this could be the OT or the operational team going off to do this. And there are, lots of good implementations around this. This would be something where, for example, maybe a quick-serve restaurant wants to monitor their freezers. Their employees are forgetting to close the doors, and they're having spoilage and things like that. And so it's a very targeted, it's a very specific application, and frankly, it's a very siloed application. And so those can get implemented, and there are a lot of providers that can provide that end-to-end for those customers. We think there's a third way that, as we move forward, is going to be really important for enterprises to get and take care, really the full advantage and the full promise of IoT. And that we're calling the enterprise class or enterprise grade. And these are really where IT and the OT teams are cooperating together. They're providing a network that's going to meet the security standards, the operational budgets, and those types of things. But it needs to be flexible to meet the operational team's needs as well. And I'll share a little bit more about this here in just a second. We were working with a very large software vendor who was sharing their experience going into some of these big companies that are deploying IoT projects. And typically they may find there's 30 different IoT projects going on in a company, at least are envisioned or in design or trying to get the project off the ground. But really, 2 of those might be viewed as very strategic for the company. And those are the ones that they might bring the SI in for. They'll rally the resources of the company behind and get those done. But those other 28 projects are still very important. They may not be the top strategic initiatives, but they're going to be very important to various lines of business or operational teams. So how do they get those done? How do they meet the needs of the operational teams at the same time building this on top of a secure network in their organization? And that's where it needs to fit into this enterprise class type of model. So this, again, might be a slightly oversimplified view of this, but as the CEO, my team said, that's about all you can handle from a technology standpoint. So that's what they gave me. But the concept's pretty straightforward. Essentially, you've got a network capability, edge services, your WAN connectivity, and then IoT devices, and an IoT platform that's running the application. And what we've seen is everybody, the OT teams and the IT teams, they want visibility into what's happening both on the network and with the application. But really, the IT folks do not want the operational teams messing with the network, and the operational teams really don't want the IT guys messing with their application. And so you have to put a solution together where there is full visibility across that application and the network to make sure it's up and running, but where IT has the control and the management of the network and the security and handling the security patches and firmware updates and device management and all of that, and the OT teams have full ownership and manageability of the applications that they're trying to implement there. And so at Cradlepoint, we kind of view our role as that middle box, creating that network and creating a wireless edge service to enable best-of-breed sensors or IoT devices to connect with the best IoT platforms. And for us, enterprise grade means this is not a consumer kind of connectivity play. This is a 24/7 network that's always up, that's managed, that's supported. It's got a comprehensive set of security services and policies around it. It's typically going to be cloud managed, more software defined for easy deployment, those types of things. And it has to provide edge-to-edge visibility into what's happening on the network and in the support. And then there can be a whole host of different IoT devices that are connecting into that platform. And probably most importantly, an IoT platform that can take all that information, and we were talking about AI and machine learning in the previous panel, and use that data to create insight for the corporation or the company to build competitive advantage and build new services for their customers. So what this might look like in real life, and this is a real life example, is a kiosk vendor who's got a set of operational needs for the application where they're monitoring and measuring who's coming up to the kiosk. Is it a man? Is it a woman? How many people are passing by versus stopping and using it? What transactions are the various folks doing on the kiosk, and how do they map that to the demographics they're capturing? And then there's the IT team that's using this network to provide that secure capability that's accessible and visible to the OT team as well, but they're handling all of the complexity with that. That network side, the IT side of things, is what we do at Cradlepoint. And we know that in these networks, they're going to require a very secure, I mean, it's no secret, people talk about it all the time, the IoT, the Internet of Things is going to provide the largest attack surface that we've ever seen. And so security is certainly vital to that. But that's what we do. So we provide a very secure, cloud-orchestrated, software-defined, wireless WAN that's simple to deploy, simple to support and manage those devices. But that's only part of the story, because what our customers really need as well is a very powerful, very flexible IoT platform so that they can build out these applications in a much simpler way. You know, we're talking about how do more people start to be able to build these kinds of applications. It's going to take a pretty powerful platform to do that, and some ease of use. And that is where, you know, we're asking IT and OT to collaborate. We as vendors need to collaborate as well. And this is an ecosystem play. We've got to be working together to provide the solutions that are going to really create the value for our customers. And so in light of that collaboration, I wanted to invite Tom Davis up, who is actually the head of IoT solutions for Microsoft, and we have an announcement together to make today.
Hi, George. Thank you very much.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming. So what we're announcing today is the new NetCloud Edge Connector. This is a collaboration with Microsoft and ourselves, and really to simplify the whole process of building an IoT network, getting access to a very powerful IoT platform that will also, one of the challenges with the more targeted specific IoT applications is you're creating data silos inside of an organization. With a broader platform like the Microsoft Azure IoT Central, you can start to take full advantage of all that data in your organization. So I'll let Tom take it here for a few minutes.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. So we're very excited about this collaboration with Cradlepoint because it really sits behind what Microsoft is all about, which is simplifying that journey for customers. At the end of the day, if we took the broad sort of vision of where we believe IoT is going, IoT is a component really of this digital transformation. And it's all about getting the feedback loops from these assets that are there. IoT's job is really about connecting the physical world with the digital world. It opens up a new dimension to business. We've been working on business to try and reduce costs, be more optimized across the board. But we're bringing a new dimension into this. And that's dramatically going to transform the ways that companies work today. So if we look at it, it's these signals that we can get to be data-driven in the decision-making that I do. Any company today is typically looking at a series of assumptions that were decided probably in 1978 by somebody who's no longer in the company. Why do we restock 10% higher than the forecast? Because somebody decided that. Who? Don't know. Left the company 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We're now moving into a data-driven process. And this is what IoT enables. So that data can help us design better products. The difference between running an air compressor in Florida or Alaska or today in the Midwest is dramatic because they work under different temperatures. Now, if I'm the engineering director who is going to design those new products, I can start really understanding the behavior of that. How are my customers interacting with my products or interacting with the assets that I've put out there to run my business? The air compressor, for example, how much air does he really use each squirt of the air compressor? I can then think about this far better. My sales team can start really taking that data and doing really targeted marketing and sales efforts. My operations can make sure I have the right people at the right place at the right time. My inventory levels are correct across the world. And this changes the way that I'm going to do business. And really what we're seeing is companies that don't take this on, it's very brutal to say, have little chance of surviving in the long term. You imagine being an engineering director with all this data flowing in real time about how people are using your products, compared to the engineering director that every 5 years tries to renew his product line, maybe goes and tests it out a bit, gets his top customers in, they have a few beers, they like it, yeah, they've done a great job, they launch it on the market, then hopefully in 10 years' time they'll re-see them. And maybe buy some spare parts if they're lucky. Whereas the other digitally transformed company can be very proactive in the way that they speak to their customers, really understand their business, and then start changing their business models. Now, the problem is today, this is all separated. There's silos of data. Obviously, line of business managers are trying to do something because that's their job. But they do it in a siloed way. And then they have the issues like George was talking about, like the IT department says it's not secure because they've gone out and done something on some unsecure Wi-Fi or something like that. Now, this is where the collaboration with Cradlepoint really comes into play, where we can bring in one single package something that is highly secure on the networking side, that is ready to go and plug straight into Azure IoT Central, that also has 250 connectors up into business enterprise systems, so I can take that data flow, The IoT Central part is managing that connectivity between physical and digital world and pushing that data into a CRM system, a field service system, an inventory system, and really managing these digital signals to improve the business. Our role as Microsoft is really that simplification of these whole processes. It's complex. Customers are going to be scared of this. They're not going to adopt it because it is so complex. We're investing $5 billion over the next 4 years to make this easier, to abstract that complexity, working with great partners, investing in R&D, taking it to the market, making it understandable for people. The ecosystem's role in this, and we want to be a protagonist in this, is making sure that everything is working together well and works out of the box. Hence, having something that's working on a Cradlepoint router that automatically passes that key operational data up into Azure IoT Central is going to be a game winner for the customers. And IT can feel safe in proposing this to their internal customers to make everything work clearly, easily, and everybody will get benefits from this as we go through this digital transformation process. So thank you very much, George. We're absolutely looking forward to working with Cradlepoint to take this forward.
Yeah,
thank you.
Likewise. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're super excited about this partnership because I think it's a great combination that's going to help make it easier for companies to deploy these solutions, provide solutions that can cover a broader set of their needs, and do it in a way that's secure and has a significant path for growth in the future. I mean, when you think about the kind of horsepower that Microsoft has in that Azure platform in terms of machine learning and AI that our customers are going to be able to take advantage of in a very simple way where IT already knows, I got a network I can put up, frankly, in minutes, in many cases, to provide that kind of application support on the network. So we're thrilled to be a part of that. And thanks for making the trip out, Tom. Appreciate it. So I guess the closing thoughts. Most of the IT projects are unsuccessful due to the complexity and the lack. Most of the ones that are successful are due to the complexity and the lack of cooperation between IT and the OT teams. And we think we're helping to solve that problem. They both need their own tools, but they both need visibility into what's happening overall, and that's certainly going to be key. And then finally, our goal with Microsoft here is to make it easier to design, deploy, manage, and grow these IoT applications for our customers. And we'd like to try not to make it too hard for them. And I think that's what this partnership, this collaboration is going to help support. So that's our news for the day. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. So thank you, folks.